All right, let's talk about. We're flying today. Let's talk about your first car.
Oh yeah.
What was your first car that? Not the first car you drove to get your license, but the first car that your parents or yourself they either handed you keys and you were like,
This
"This
is yours.
mine." Yeah.
Mine was a 1989 Mercury Sable station wagon.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know about this car.
Yeah, that's what
Mercury.
my is a Mercury Sable. It was
Okay.
like a Ford Taurus, basically exact same body, just different namesake. I had
And
that when I
uh-huh.
was 16. When I was 16, and my parents were like, "Here you go, we're giving you a car," and it was awesome.
And
I loved it.
I've never seen it, never heard of it. This is the first I've ever heard of the car. Was it red?
No, it was white.
Oh, they had a white one.
Yeah, so I got to pick the color when I was really young. So in '89, I was like 12. I remember picking
Was it a
the color.
wagon? Did you say it was
It
a
was a
wagon?
wagon. Yeah, it was a wagon.
Nice. So that means in the back, did it have the two jump seats that face the wrong way?
Yes, sir.
Classic.
I mean, it was. I mean, I wasn't embarrassed. Other people were like, "Oh, I don't want to drive a station wagon." I was like, "I love station wagon. I take it because, like, in high school,
Yeah.
you take a bunch of people at home, right? Like that was my
Yeah,
thing. Like,
that's
end
all
of the
you
day,
did.
could take like 6 people home. I
You,
liked
you
it
were the beginning of Uber.
pretty much. I mean, like all the people that I was like the bus. Basically, everyone jumped in and we got a ride home. I didn't turn any. If anybody said, "Can I get a ride home?" 100%. I've never met you before. Let's go. So I was excited.
What are you, 40, 42 years old? Yeah, I'll give you a ride home.
You're
Get
right.
in here. And nothing like having those two seats that face the wrong way.
100%. Amazing.
Those were the two friends in the back that were going to get you pulled over.
I mean, I used to do donuts in that car, so it was
I
amazing.
love it. I love it. That's such a great car. That's such a classic, like 80s, 90s car, right?
No, it is like now, and then they had like the upgraded Taurus show. That was like the
Yeah.
big V8 engine in it with the same body that Conan O'Brien always made fun of that he had.
That car is like a beast.
Yeah, that was like no, the Sable was good. I didn't hate it. I drove it for until I had the Integra. I got the Integra before I went to college.
The Sable, the Mercury. Mercury is always the bougie version of Ford, right?
Right.
It eventually
It's
turned
kind of
into
like
like
the
Lincoln.
I wouldn't even say bougie version. It was just like the sister of it.
Yeah, you're right. The bougie, like, honestly, was the grill.
Yeah, it was nothing different. Like there was literally no difference other than the naming.
Nothing on the interior, just a badge. Sable.
Just debadged and then different grill and different badge on the back. That was it. Crazy. I don't even know
Mine
why.
was what year was yours?
89.
So mine was a 85 blue Toyota Camry.
Not the Camry
And-
that I saw at Mason.
No, not the one that we painted green and yellow on the wheels and everything. No, this was one right before. So this is my high school Camry. That same story. It was bought for my mom, and then I took it when I turned 16. And then, but it had like the blue velvet seats on the inside. Like 85 is when they were using velvet. And everything was square, like the dash, everything was 90-degree angle. And I remember, like, I don't think I tinted the windows on it, but I did put a new tape deck, right, and a sub, and changed the speakers to like upgraded 6x9. Not even Pioneer at that time. It was like Pioneer's upscale brand was Premier. So I was like, yeah, I got to put the Premiers on it.
Yeah, you went crazy. So wait,
Crazy.
so what was that like going to school in that car?
I loved it. I actually really liked that car because
It had to be one of the
It
better
was-
cars at school, no?
I mean, to high school, yeah, it wasn't bad. But see,
Yeah.
here's the thing: like, we moved from Toronto, so moving to Roanoke, Southern Virginia, had a different mindset. It was,
Trucks.
the country for us, and there was a lot of pickups. And
Yeah.
I remember, like, people were like, "What is that car? Like, it's weird," It was the era of the Fox body Mustangs, the square body Mustang 5.0s.
Yep.
A couple of kids had that, like Pathfinders and trucks and Ford Escorts, right? Remember Escort GTs
Yeah.
and Honda Accords and some Civics, not that much, but I remember mine being one of the few, like, quote unquote imports, and I put it between two, like, F-150s that were my friends, and they were just like,
What is that?
"The heck is it?" It was like sky blue with blue velvet interior, and it was just crazy. And then, like, I remember, like, again, Southern Virginia, right? So somebody slapped like a huge Confederate flag on the back, like a sticker, and I was like, "Let's go!" What does that mean? That was the era of the Dukes of Hazzard. We used to watch that show.
Yeah, that's right.
Good old boys.
So wait.
Yeah.
So you were always into Toyotas. Is that why you started with Toyotas?
It was because my uncle, he owned a Toyota dealership, so he had us very involved in Toyotas. But yeah, that started.
I was always Team Honda because my brother had a Honda Accord. Obviously, I had the Acura. My parents ended up getting the Acura Legend.
Oh, the Legend, dude. I remember your guys' Legend.
Yeah, that thing was awesome.
It was legendary. That was such a great car.
Yeah, the thing was it was like a '92 Acura Legend, like the first year of it. We loved that
That's
car.
such a nice car. That was such a good car, like the Acura Legend. And then remember they made the Legend Coupe.
Right.
And I just thought that, like, even to this day, when I see like an old school Legend Coupe online, it looks good.
I saw
Excuse me.
Ludacris still has his original. I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
There's a
I saw that.
Yeah, on YouTube.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that thing's awesome.
It was a Legend, and then what was the other big body one they made? Do you remember?
Bigger.
Yeah. That was a 4-door too, or?
Yeah, it's also a 4-door. It's more like the size of a Accord, not. The Legend was a little bigger than an Accord, and then the Bigger was a little smaller, like a compact sedan.
I remember that. That was the year. That was like the era of each brand had like 4 models.
Right.
And they stuck to like Acura Legend, Vigor, Integra, and I think that was it for Acura. They didn't even. Did they have an MDX or anything back
No,
then?
they didn't even have those yet. The SUVs weren't a thing yet.
No, and then they came out with like MDX, and then they came out with RDX. I was cool with that, but then everything just started going to heck with like ILX and this, and then now you don't even know. You go to like a dealership, and you're like, "I'll take that size."
And back then it was Toyota had the Lexus, Honda had Acura, Nissan had Infiniti. It was all of that, right? Like the premium brand of the sub brand or whatever you want to call it.
It made sense.
It did back then. It made total sense. Like, hey, you can go economy and get a Honda, or you can upgrade everything, go a little more luxurious and get an Acura.
And that's what people did, right? Like they would buy the Civic, start working, save up money, and go, you know what? I want to get into an Acura now. And it felt like you accomplished something. If
it was all buy like Honda, a baby Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
And now it's like I don't even know what to get. Like, and then you throw in like Genesis. I'm like, wait, wasn't that a Hyundai like 5 years ago? Hyundai, and now it's like its own brand, and it's doing better than Hyundai is.
Yeah. Honda and Kia are killing it. I feel like their cars are like really stepped it up.
Yeah, they are. The Telluride, and
I think because they've had to like overcome people making fun of their brands, that they go over the top with like warranty and care and like fit quality. Finish. Yeah, like they just go over the top. So you're like, whoa, this is nice.
Yeah, 100%. And Genesis is the smartest thing they ever did. the badge on the Genesis, the fact that it mimics the Bentley badge,
Yeah, you
in
don't even
your
know what that
mind,
is.
yeah, in your mind, it's like quality, right? So you see it coming up behind you, and you're like, "That's an interesting looking car," and it passes you. You see the badge, you know it's not a Bentley, but you're like, "That's a high end car. I wonder how much that costs." Now you're looking at like G80s, and you're like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be 100,000." Comes back at 60 or 70, no brainer.
And it goes 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds or something ridiculous.
Yeah, insane though.
It is.
So.